Anyway, let's watch Scott Jennings calmly unpack exactly what happened and how Kara Swisher tries to explain it away. Let's go.
Let's talk about the book, Revolution of the Common Sense, which is about Trump's first months in office. The conflict between Trump and the mainstream media, which we talked about already, is a recurring theme, though, in your book. In Trumpism, one of the through lines of your book, for example, you reiterate the Hunter Biden laptop story, quote, the media colluded with more than 50 so-called intelligence experts in 2020 claimed that Hunter Biden's laptop was classic Russian disinformation campaign. You and I had a fight about that last year on CNN. Let's play that. There is no proof that tech companies colluded to do this. This is nonsense, and he knows it. No, I'm sorry.
There was a major institutional effort.
No, there was
absolutely.
Listen, I have been one of the biggest critics of tech. This is nonsense. I think the issue is this word collude. I think you might say Trump colludes with tech people now, like they're at his dinners, et cetera, and he's applying a lot of pressure and influence to them at the same time. Explain what I think is an obsession with collusion.
Well, I think in that particular case, what Republicans were exercised about was that this Hunter Biden story was emerging. There was something there, and there was an immediate attempt by media outlets to say, this is not a huge deal. I remember NPR saying, we're not going to cover this because it's not important to the American people, which I totally disagree with. And then you had tech companies and platforms literally not putting the story on their platform. I mean, they were actively censoring it on the doorstep of an election. So the general criticism is, and then on top of that, the Democrats go out and recruit 50 people with fancy titles, intelligence backgrounds to all say, oh, this is classic Russian disinformation. So you had a number of things going on. And what did we find out later? It was real. The information on it was real. And it was valid stuff about whether the Biden family was, involved in things that, I think you and I might agree would be considered corrupt. And so why was there such an effort to keep this information from broad distribution to the American people on the doorstep of an election? Republicans were mad about it then, and they're still mad about it today. What were they so afraid of? I mean, the story was true. There wasn't really any dispute of that, other than from these 50 people who come from government, who are in and out of government when Democrats are in power.
That's politics to me, Scott. You're not naive.
I mean, calling everything that Scott just laid out just politics is something that I never thought I'd hear somebody say in 2025. Scott laid out a documented series of events, NPR refusing to cover the Hunter Biden story, media outlets dismissing it instantly, platforms blocking it right before the election, and 51 former intelligence officials implying it was Russian disinformation. And Kara's response is basically, happens all the time. No, Kara, this wasn't just a handful of people making their case. This was a coordinated effort to make sure voters didn't see the true information weeks before an election. Even people who didn't care about Hunter Biden saw what was happening and thought, why are they working so hard to bury this? I can't tell you how many angles she takes in this interview that just completely baffle me. Her question about why do Republicans have a fixation on the word collusion, that is bizarre. That word was definitely mainstreamed, but it wasn't conservatives. The entire country lived through years of headlines about Trump and Russia. So pretending conservatives suddenly invented this term is, come on.